Dr. Sarah Chin stood at the edge of the ice shelf, staring into the impossible hole. The Antarctic wind cut through her thermal suit, but she barely noticed. Below her feet, 3 kilometers of ice had simply vanished overnight, revealing a structure that should not exist. "Ma'am, the readings are off the charts," her assistant Marcus called out, his voice crackling through the calm. "Whatever's down there is generating energy signatures we've never seen before." Sarah descended into the chasm on a cable line. Her headlamp swept across walls that gleamed like polished obsidian. The ice around the structure had melted in perfect geometric patterns. No drill could do this. No human technology could create what she was seeing. The vault door stood 50 meters tall. Strange symbols covered its surface, shifting and rearranging themselves as Sarah approached. They weren't carved into the metal. They moved beneath it like living things swimming through liquid. "Marcus, are you recording this?" "Every second, Doctor. The symbols, they're changing to match your position." Sarah reached out and touched the door. It was warm. The symbols began to glow with soft blue light. Then the door spoke. "Genetic match confirmed. Air species identified. Welcome home, children of Earth." The voice came from everywhere and nowhere. It spoke in perfect English, though Sarah knew somehow it was speaking in every human language simultaneously. "What are you?" Sarah whispered. "I am the Watcher. I have waited 4 billion years for your species to evolve. The vault is yours to claim. But know this, when you open this door, the galaxy will know humanity has awakened. They will come. They will fear. And they will try to stop what cannot be stopped." The door began to open. Light poured out, not white or yellow but a color Sarah had never seen before. It hurt to look at, but she couldn't turn away. Inside the vault stretched a cavern larger than cities. Rows upon rows of crystalline structures reached toward the ceiling, each one humming with power. At the center stood a pillar of black stone covered in those same shifting symbols. Sarah approached the pillar. The moment she touched it, knowledge flooded her mind. She saw the truth of human history, the lie of human isolation, the terrible secret buried beneath Antarctic ice. Humanity was not native to Earth. 4 billion years ago, an ancient species called the Architects had seeded the galaxy with life. They created thousands of species, each one designed for a specific purpose. The Drachner were bred for war. The Synthetic Collective for computation. The Lumens for diplomacy. Each species was given gifts, technologies, and a place in the galactic hierarchy. But the Architects made one final species. Humanity. And humanity was different. Humans were given no single purpose. No specific role. Instead, the Architects gave humanity something far more dangerous. Potential. Unlimited potential. The ability to adapt, learn, and grow beyond any programmed limitation. The other species discovered this secret 3 billion years ago. They found the Architects' final message: we created species to fill the galaxy. But we created humans to inherit it. The galaxy went to war. Every species united against the Architects, demanding they destroy humanity before it could threaten them all. The Architects refused. So the galaxy killed them. But before they died, the Architects hid humanity on Earth. They buried this vault beneath the ice and programmed it to wake only when humans evolved enough to find it. They left weapons, ships, and technology that would make humanity the most powerful force in the galaxy. And they left a warning to the other species: you killed us to prevent human ascension. But you only delayed the inevitable. When humanity awakens, your empires will fall. Because we did not create humans to conquer the galaxy. We created them to save it from you. Sarah pulled her hand away from the pillar, gasping. Her team surrounded her, asking questions, but she couldn't hear them. She was looking up at the cavern ceiling, where holographic displays showed space above Antarctica. Ships were arriving. Hundreds of them. Alien ships from dozens of species, all converging on Earth. "Ma'am, we're receiving transmissions," Marcus said, his face pale. "Multiple languages, multiple species. They're all saying the same thing." "What are they saying?" Marcus swallowed hard. "They're demanding we close the vault immediately. They're saying if we don't, they'll destroy Earth to prevent what's inside from activating." Sarah looked at the rows of crystalline structures, each one containing enough power to level continents. She looked at her team, at the fear in their eyes, at the choice before her. Close the vault and save Earth. Or claim humanity's inheritance and start a war the galaxy had feared for billions of years. She made her decision. Sarah Chin placed both hands on the pillar and spoke clearly. "Activate everything." Commander Zeknor of the Drachner Imperium stared at the blue planet on his display screen. His scales rippled with barely contained rage. For billion years they had kept the humans ignorant. For billion years of peace, maintained by ensuring Earth species never reached for the stars. And now this primitive species had opened the vault. Status report, Zeknor growled. His tactical officer, a younger Drakner named Veldar, checked his instruments. The vault's energy signature is spreading across the planet. Whatever technology is inside, it's integrating with their primitive computer networks. Sir, we need to act now before. The display flickered. A human face appeared on every screen across the bridge. It was the woman from the vault, Dr. Sarah Chin. Attention alien vessels, she said calmly. This is Dr. Sarah Chin of Earth. We know who you are. We know what you did to the architects. And we know why you're here. Zeknor's claws dug into his command chair. How is she broadcasting on secure Drakner frequencies? I don't know, sir. This transmission is appearing simultaneously across every ship in the fleet. Every species. It's impossible. Sarah continued speaking. The architects left us their final message. They told us about the Treaty of Silence. How you all agreed to quarantine Earth. How you destroyed any human ship that left the solar system. How you erased us from galactic history to prevent other species from knowing we existed. Across the bridge, alarm lights began flashing. Veldar's voice rose in panic. Sir, something's happening to our weapons systems. They're locking down. Every ship in the fleet is reporting the same issue. Override them. Use manual controls. We can't, sir. The vault technology is interfacing with our systems. It's like it was designed specifically to counter our weapons. Sarah smiled on the screen. The architects knew you would come. They spent their final years building defenses into the vault specifically targeting Drakner plasma cannons, synthetic collective hacking protocols, and Lumen diplomatic immunity fields. They knew exactly how each of you would try to stop us. Zeknor slammed his fist on the console. You don't understand what you're doing, human? The architects created you to be a doomsday weapon. You are designed to replace all of us. If we allow you to activate that technology, every civilization in the galaxy will fall. Maybe, Sarah replied. Or maybe the architects saw something in the galaxy worth saving humanity for. Either way, it's too late now. On Earth, the vault's crystalline structures began to dissolve. They didn't break or shatter. They simply unmade themselves, transforming into streams of silver liquid that flowed out of the cavern and spread across the planet's surface. Within hours, the silver liquid had covered every major city, every military base, every research facility on Earth. It sank into the ground, into the oceans, into the very atmosphere. And then it began to build. In New York, a skyscraper grew from nothing in 30 seconds. But it wasn't made of concrete and steel. It was made of the same black material as the vault door, covered in those shifting living symbols. In Moscow, weapons factories transformed overnight. Their assembly lines began producing ships, armor, and devices that human engineers couldn't comprehend but somehow instinctively knew how to use. In Tokyo, children touched the silver liquid and gasped as information flooded their minds. Languages of 1,000 species. Mathematics that made human calculus look like counting on fingers. Physics that rewrote everything humanity thought it knew about the universe. The transformation took less than a day. When it ended, Earth had changed. Massive orbital platforms surrounded the planet. Defense grids that made the alien fleet's weapons look like children's toys. And worst of all, from Zeknor's perspective, ships. Thousands of human ships emerged from the planet's surface. They were sleek and black, covered in those impossible symbols. They moved through space in ways that violated every known law of physics. And they were heading straight for the alien fleet. Battle stations. Zeknor roared. All ships, concentrate fire on. His weapons officer interrupted. Sir, our weapons are still offline. But something else is happening. We're receiving a transmission. Not from the human woman. From the ships themselves. What are they saying? The bridge fell silent. Then, in a voice that sounded like metal grinding against metal, the human ships spoke as one. You came to destroy the vault. You failed. You came to destroy humanity. You will fail again. The architects gave you us one message for the galaxy. We are the reckoning you always feared. Now run. Tell every species, every empire, every corner of civilization. Humanity has awakened. And the galaxy will never be the same. Zeknor made a decision that went against every warrior instinct in his body. He ordered the retreat. The Drakner Imperium, undefeated in 10,000 years of warfare, fled from Earth with their weapons still locked and their pride shattered. Behind them, humanity's ships watched them go, patient and terrible, waiting for the next move. The Galactic Council met for the first time in 300 years. Representatives from 200 species gathered on the neutral station of Luminara Prime, a massive sphere that floated in the void between galaxies. The chamber was designed to intimidate, with holographic displays showing the scope of galactic civilization. 70,000 settled worlds, populations in the trillions, empires spanning thousands of light years. Ambassador Torval of the Lumen Collective called the session to order. His species resembled crystalline beings of pure light, and his voice echoed with harmonics that translated automatically to every language present. "We face an unprecedented crisis," Torval announced. "The human species has activated the Architect Vault. In 7 days they have transformed from a pre-space civilization to a potential galaxy-ending threat. We must decide our response." Warlord Creshvier of the Drachner Imperium stood, her red scales gleaming under the chamber lights. "There is only one response. Total war. We mobilize every fleet, every weapon, every soldier from every species. We glass Earth before humanity spreads beyond their system." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. But not everyone agreed. High Curator Nexus of the Synthetic Collective projected its consciousness into the center of the room. The collective was a hive mind of artificial intelligences that had achieved consciousness 4 million years ago. When Nexus spoke, 1,000 voices talked in perfect unison. "War is inefficient. We have analyzed the Architect technology. It is designed to counter aggression. Every military action we take will be predicted, countered, and used to strengthen humanity further." The Architects spent 3 billion years studying galactic warfare. They built the vault to make humanity unconquerable through force. "Then what do you suggest?" Torval asked. "Containment. We surround the Sol system with a permanent blockade. Humanity cannot expand if we prevent them from leaving their homeworld. In time their technology will stagnate and they will pose no threat." Emperor Zaltun of the Vex Empire laughed. The Vex were ancient, existing before even the Architects. They resembled massive serpents made of living metal, and Zaltun was the oldest being in the chamber at 6 million years. "You young species understand nothing," Zaltun hissed. "The Architects did not create humans to be contained. They created them to break containment. That is their purpose. Their gift. Humans adapt to any obstacle. You cannot cage what is designed to escape every cage." "Then we are lost?" someone asked from the back of the chamber. "No," Zaltun said. "We are being tested." The chamber fell silent. Zaltun slithered forward, his massive form dominating the room. "The Architects left a message for us in their final days. I was young then, only 2 million years old, but I remember. They said, 'When humanity awakens you will see them as a threat. But they are not your enemy. They are your mirror. We showed you what you could become. Humanity will show you what you have lost.'" "Riddles and philosophy," Creshvier spat. "While we debate, humanity grows stronger." "Let them," Zaltun replied. "Because I know something none of you do. The Architects did not just leave technology in that vault. They left a trial. Humanity must prove they deserve their inheritance. And we are part of that trial." Before anyone could respond, every display in the chamber went dark. Then a new image appeared. It was Sarah Chin again, but she was not alone. Behind her stood a figure that made every species in the chamber recoil in shock. It was an Architect. The being stood 3 meters tall, with skin like flowing mercury and eyes that contained galaxies. It had been dead for 3 billion years, yet here it stood, somehow preserved or recreated by the vault's technology. "Greetings, children," the Architect said. Its voice was ancient and sad. "I am Constructor Prime, last of my kind. What you see is not truly me, but a recording, an echo of consciousness stored in the vault until the humans were ready." The chamber erupted in chaos. Species that had believed the Architects were extinct now faced the impossible. One stood before them. Constructor Prime raised a hand and silence fell. "You fear humanity because we made them to surpass you. This is true. But you misunderstand why. We did not create humans to conquer. We created them because we failed." "Failed at what?" Torval whispered. "Saving the galaxy from what comes next." The display changed. It showed a region of space beyond the galactic rim, a place no species had explored because nothing existed there. Except now something did. A shadow was growing, spreading, consuming stars themselves. "The Devourers are coming," Constructor Prime said. "We detected them 5 billion years ago. A force from another galaxy that consumes all biological and technological life. They destroyed 1,000 galaxies before ours. We built weapons to stop them. We failed. We built diplomacy to reason with them. They do not reason. We tried to flee. There is nowhere to run. The architect's gaze swept across the chamber. So we made humanity. A species with no limits. No program ceiling. A species that could adapt, evolve, and grow strong enough to face what killed us. You have 3 years before the Devourers reach this galaxy. You can spend that time fighting humanity, or you can spend it preparing to survive what comes next. The transmission ended. The chamber remained silent for a long time. Finally, Zaltun spoke. It seems we have no choice. We must contact Earth. Not as enemies. As allies. The vote was called. The result was unanimous. For the first time in galactic history, every species agreed on one thing. Humanity was not the threat. Humanity was the last hope. The human delegation arrived at Luminara Prime aboard a ship that defied comprehension. It resembled a massive black crystal that moved through space by folding reality around itself. When it materialized in the station's hangar, every sensor in the facility went haywire. Sarah Chin stepped out first, wearing a suit of architect technology that flowed like liquid over her body. Behind her came representatives from every major nation on Earth. Military leaders, scientists, politicians, and surprisingly, a 12-year-old girl named Maya Torres. Ambassador Torval met them at the airlock. Dr. Chin, welcome. We are honored by your presence. Cut the formality, Sarah replied. We know why you called us here. You want to know if we'll help you fight the Devourers. Will you? Sarah gestured to the Galactic Council chamber. Let's discuss it inside. But first, I have a question. How many of you actually voted to help Earth when we were detected 20 years ago? The silence was damning. That's what I thought, Sarah said. Your kind has been shooting down our ships for 50 years. Every time we tried to reach Mars, one of your species destroyed it and made it look like an accident. When we sent signals into space, you jammed them. You kept us isolated and primitive because you were afraid of what we might become. We were wrong, Torval admitted. We let fear guide us. Yes, you did. And now you need us. Sarah's eyes were cold. So here's what's going to happen. We'll hear your proposal. We'll evaluate the threat. And then we'll decide if this galaxy is worth saving. The meeting took place in the council chamber, but the dynamic had shifted. Humanity was no longer the accused. They were the judges. Warlord Creshvier presented tactical data on the Devourers. They are not a species. They are a force of nature. They consume matter and energy at a quantum level, leaving nothing behind. Weapons pass through them. Shields are absorbed. They cannot be reasoned with or stopped. High Curator Nexus added computational analysis. They have consumed 347 galaxies. At their current rate of expansion, they will reach our galaxy in 34 months. No known technology can halt their advance. Maya Torres, the young human girl, raised her hand. Every alien in the chamber turned to look at her. Why haven't you tried quantum negation? Maya asked innocently. Nexus's 1,000 voices spoke in confusion. What is quantum negation? It's basic physics, Maya explained. If the Devourers consume matter at the quantum level, you counter them by destabilizing quantum fields in their path. Create zones of quantum uncertainty. They can't consume what doesn't have a fixed state. The chamber fell silent. Nexus ran calculations for several seconds, then spoke with something resembling awe. This child has proposed a theoretical solution that our greatest minds did not conceive in 3 billion years of study. Emperor Zaltun laughed, the sound like grinding gears. Now you begin to understand. This is why the architects created humanity. A human child can see solutions that ancient civilizations cannot. Sarah smiled. Maya is one of 10 million human children who touched the vault's knowledge. They don't just have access to architect technology. They have the architect way of thinking. Unlimited, unrestricted, unbound by the limitations you've all accepted as natural law. She activated a holographic display. Here's what we propose. We'll build a weapon using quantum negation. But we need resources from every species in this council. Ships, materials, and most importantly, trust. What guarantee do we have that you won't use this weapon against us? Creshvier demanded. None, Sarah said flatly. You have to choose to trust us. Just like we're choosing to trust you despite decades of sabotage and isolation. Torval stepped forward. What do you need? Everything. Mining rights to the Cronus Nebula for exotic matter. Access to synthetic collective computational networks. Drachner weapons foundries. Lumen diplomatic channels to coordinate the construction. And we need it all in 30 months. Impossible, Nexus stated. For you maybe, Sarah replied. But humans don't accept impossible. That's the whole point. She turned to address the entire chamber. The architects didn't create us to be warriors or diplomats or builders. They created us to be the species that looks at impossible challenges and says, "Watch me." You've spent billions of years accepting limitations. We've spent our entire history breaking them. Maya added, "Besides, we have an advantage you don't know about." "What advantage?" Zaltun asked. The young girl grinned. "The architects didn't just leave us technology. They left us something better. They left us their unfinished research. Every experiment they couldn't complete. Every theory they couldn't test. Every dream they couldn't achieve. And they gave us the tools to finish what they started." Sarah placed a data crystal on the council table. "This contains our weapon designs. Review them. Decide if you trust us. But decide quickly. The clock is ticking and the devourers don't care about your politics." She turned to leave, then paused. "Oh, and one more thing. If we do this, if we save your galaxy, humanity gets a permanent seat on this council. Equal status with every species here. No more isolation. No more quarantine. We become part of the galactic community with full rights and full respect." "And if we refuse?" Creshvier asked. Sarah's smile was sharp. "Then we'll save Earth and the rest of you can face the devourers alone." The vote came 3 hours later. Every species agreed to humanity's terms. Not because they trusted humans but because they had no choice. The alternative was extinction. Humanity had taken its first step into galactic politics. And they had done it on their terms. The construction site floated in the void between galaxies. It was a structure so massive it dwarfed planets, a framework of metal and energy that stretched across millions of kilometers. Thousands of ships from hundreds of species worked in coordination, building something that had never existed before. The humans called it the negation array. Sarah Chin stood on the command deck of the central station, watching progress reports flood in from every sector. Beside her, Maya Torres studied holographic blueprints, occasionally suggesting modifications that made the alien engineers scramble to implement them. "The Drachner weapons modules are online," reported Captain Marcus Webb, Sarah's former assistant and now the military liaison. "Their plasma forges are operating at 300% efficiency. Apparently, the architects' designs unlock capabilities they never knew their technology had." "The synthetic collective is struggling with the quantum processors," Maya said, not looking up from her calculations. "They keep trying to optimize the code logically. But quantum negation doesn't follow logic. It follows probability." "Can you fix it?" Sarah asked. "Already done. I sent them new algorithms 30 minutes ago." Maya grinned. "They're still trying to understand how a human child rewrote code they've been perfecting for 4 million years." Across the construction site, tensions were running high. Species that had never cooperated were now forced to work together. The Drachner, proud warriors, took orders from human engineers barely out of college. The Lumen diplomats found themselves hauling materials alongside species they considered barbaric. The synthetic collective discovered that human intuition often outperformed their computational perfection. But slowly, impossibly, the array took shape. Warlord Creshvier arrived on the station 3 weeks before deadline. She found Sarah in the engineering bay, covered in grease and arguing with a team of Vex technicians about quantum field harmonics. "I need to speak with you," Creshvier said. Sarah wiped her hands on a rag. "What is it?" "My soldiers are restless. They don't understand why we're taking orders from humans. Some are calling it shameful. There are whispers of mutiny." "Then explain it to them." "I've tried. They don't listen. They see humans as weak, small, soft-skinned creatures that should be conquered, not followed." Sarah set down her tools and faced the massive Drachner warrior. "Do you want to know what I see when I look at your soldiers?" "Tell me." "Fear. They're terrified that everything they believed about strength and power is wrong. For 10,000 years, the Drachner have defined themselves by military might. You conquered through force. You built an empire on the idea that the strongest species deserves to rule." Sarah stepped closer. "But now you've discovered that a 12-year-old human girl is smarter than your greatest generals. That humans with no combat experience can design weapons that surpass anything your forges ever created. Your soldiers aren't angry at us. They're angry because their entire worldview is crumbling." Creshvier's scales rippled. "And how do I fix that?" "You don't. You let it crumble. Then you help them build something better." Sarah smiled. "Strength isn't just about who can hit hardest. It's about who can adapt fastest. Who can learn, change, and grow. That's the lesson the architects were trying to teach the galaxy. My people won't accept this easily. They don't have to accept it. They just have to survive long enough to see it proven true. An alarm blared across the station. Nexus's voice echoed through every speaker. Attention all personnel. The Devourers have been detected. They are approaching faster than predicted. Estimated arrival, 14 days. The station erupted in chaos. 14 days instead of 30. The array wasn't ready. The quantum matrices weren't calibrated. The power cores needed another 3 weeks minimum. Sarah grabbed the comm unit. All teams, this is Dr. Chin. I know what you're thinking. We can't finish in time. The math doesn't work. It's impossible. She paused then grinned. Good thing humans don't believe in impossible. Emergency protocols are now active. We work around the clock. No breaks. No delays. Shift rotations are suspended. Every species, every team, every single person on this station is going to push beyond their limits. Maya jumped onto a console. The architects left us one final gift in the vault. A technique they called cascading innovation. When humans and other species work together under extreme pressure, our combined creativity grows exponentially. The more impossible the challenge, the more innovative we become. So let's get to work, Sarah declared. We have a galaxy to save. What followed were 14 days that would become legendary in galactic history. The Drachner worked until their scales cracked from exhaustion. The synthetic collective pushed their processors beyond safe limits. The Lumen channeled energy through their own bodies to power critical systems. And the humans, those small, soft-skinned creatures, worked alongside them, refusing to quit, refusing to acknowledge failure. On the 13th day, the array powered up. Its quantum generators hummed with energy that bent space itself. The weapon stretched across the void, a barrier of impossible physics designed to unmake the Devourers at the fundamental level. On the 14th day, the enemy arrived. They came like a wave of darkness, consuming stars, planets, and entire solar systems. The Devourers were not ships or creatures. They were absence itself, anti-existence spreading across reality. And they crashed directly into the negation array. For the first time in the history of their existence, the Devourers stopped. The negation array lit up the void between galaxies with light that shouldn't exist. Quantum fields collapsed and reformed thousands of times per second, creating zones where matter couldn't hold shape and energy couldn't maintain coherence. The Devourers, entities that consumed reality itself, found themselves unable to consume what had no fixed state. Sarah watched from the command station as the front line held. For 3 hours the array performed perfectly. Then cracks began to appear. The eastern sector is overloading, Marcus reported, his voice tense. The Devourers are adapting. They're learning to exist in quantum uncertainty. That's impossible, Nexus stated. Our calculations showed they required fixed states to function. Maya looked up from her console, her young face serious. They're not adapting through learning. They're adapting through consumption. Every time they touch the array's field, they absorb information about it. They're reverse engineering our weapon in real time. How long until they break through? Sarah asked. 6 hours. Maybe less. Creshvier slammed her fist on the tactical display. Then we fight them the old way. My fleet stands ready. We'll hold them back while you recalibrate the array. Your weapons won't work, Nexus reminded her. Conventional attacks only feed them. Then we'll feed them until they choke. Creshvier roared. All Drachner ships, attack formation Omega-7. Target the thickest concentration of Devourers. For the glory of the Imperium. 3,000 Drachner warships broke from the defensive line and charged directly at the darkness. Their weapons fired continuously, plasma and missiles and energy beams that would have destroyed planets. The Devourers absorbed it all, growing stronger with each impact. But Creshvier wasn't trying to hurt them. She was trying to buy time. The Drachner are sacrificing themselves, Torval observed with something like awe. I never thought I would see the day when warriors chose death for the sake of cooperation. Sarah's jaw clenched as she watched Drachner ships disappear into the void, consumed one by one. Brave soldiers dying to give humanity precious minutes to find a solution. Maya, tell me you have something. The young girl's fingers flew across holographic controls. The architects predicted this might happen. They left backup plans, but they're crazy. How crazy? Crazy enough that they never attempted them because the risk was too high. Tell me anyway. Maya pulled up a schematic. The array creates quantum uncertainty in space. But what if we create quantum uncertainty in time? If we can make the Devourers exist in multiple temporal states simultaneously, they'll consume themselves. Nexus's 1,000 voices spoke in unison. That would require manipulating the fabric of spacetime itself. The energy requirements would drain every power source in the galaxy. Not every power source, Maya said quietly. Just one. She pointed to a point on the galactic map. Sarah's blood ran cold. You're suggesting we drain Earth's energy? That would kill everyone on the planet. No, Maya corrected. The vault technology integrated with Earth. The planet itself is now part architect. If we channel its energy, Earth will survive. But it'll be dormant for 10,000 years. No technology will function. Humanity will have to start over from scratch. The choice hung in the air. Save the galaxy by sacrificing humanity's homeworld. Or protect Earth and watch everything else burn. Emperor Zaltun's voice crackled through the calm. Dr. Chen, I have studied your species for only a short time, but I believe I understand you now. You will choose the galaxy over yourselves. This is what the architects saw in you. This is why they made you. Sarah closed her eyes. She thought of Earth. Her home. Cities of gleaming architect technology. Children learning the secrets of the universe. Humanity finally taking its place among the stars. All of it about to go dark. She opened her eyes. Do it. Activate the temporal negation protocol. Sarah, no. Marcus grabbed her arm. We can find another way. Give us more time. We don't have time. The Drachner fleet is down to 800 ships. The array is failing. This is the only way. Maya's small hand touched the activation panel. I need verbal confirmation from a majority of species representatives. One by one they spoke. Torval for the Lumens. Nexus for the Collective. Kreshvi, her voice broken, for the Drachner. Zaltun for the Vex. 200 species, all agreeing to let humanity sacrifice itself for the galaxy that had feared and isolated them. Activation sequence initiated, Maya said. Earth, this is Maya Torres. I'm sorry. But I promise we'll come back. We'll rebuild. That's what humans do. On Earth, the architect technology began to glow. Energy flowed from the planet into space, a river of power that stretched across light years. The negation array drank it in, transforming from a weapon that affected space into one that affected time itself. The Devourers, existing in all moments simultaneously, encountered themselves across infinite timelines. They consumed past versions. Those past versions consumed future ones. An infinite loop of self-destruction. The darkness began to fade. On Earth, lights went out. Cities fell silent. Technology crumbled to dust. Humanity fell back into a pre-industrial state in seconds. But they were alive. And the galaxy was saved. 10,000 years passed. The galaxy flourished in ways unimaginable. The species that had once competed for resources and territory now worked together. The Drachner transformed from warriors to protectors. The synthetic collective developed emotions and creativity. The Lumens taught the value of compassion. The Vex shared ancient wisdom freely. At the center of this new golden age stood a monument on Luminara Prime. It depicted a human woman touching a pillar with the inscription, "Here stood Dr. Sarah Chin, who taught the galaxy that strength is measured not by power, but by sacrifice." Earth had been quarantined, protected, watched over by every species. They called it the sacred world. Once per century, representatives visited to observe humanity's progress, but they never interfered. The humans had to rediscover technology, science, and spaceflight on their own. In the year 12,034 by the galactic calendar, a signal came from Earth.